Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett and thank you for spending some time with me today because in this video, we're talking about some interior design mistakes that as a designer who really works with real people, I see quite often and they're easy to avoid. We can get your home looking beautiful whether you have these or not. I want to share with you how to avoid them and how to fix them. Now the first one I see all of the time is actually that people buy without planning. You always need to have a plan in place. And so it's not necessarily like if you bought something and you didn't have a plan, you have to get rid of it. Like, no, we can make it work. And that's what I do all of the time. My clients will have, bought a new house or have painted their walls or something. And, they didn't consult with a designer. They didn't establish a plan. And so now it's like, hey, this is what I have. Fix it. Let's make it perfect. Let's make it work. And it's like, well, okay, we have limitations on us now. So here's what we're going to have to do. And ultimately, I give them something beautiful, but it may not be what they initially intended on having. And that's okay, but it just limits you if you don't start out with a plan. And a plan can be as far as like buying furniture that's the right size or, measuring before you purchase. Like a big conversation I always have with clients is, we find a sofa, right? Like we like this sofa, it's good. Sofas are kind of standard sizes. And now it's like, what size rug goes with it? If it's an 8-foot sofa, can we get an 8x10? Well, are we gonna have side tables? Like what's happening there? Can we get a 9x12? Like, what are we going from there and what else are we doing? So we can't just buy a sofa and then say like, okay, get the rug. We have decisions we have to make. We have measurements we have to make. How far away is the coffee table gonna be? How wide is that gonna be? What accent chairs are we gonna have? Are we gonna have 2 sofas? Those are questions we always have, but that's not always everybody's case. They're not starting from scratch, right? Like a lot of people, they're looking to do an update or honestly, I deal with a lot of clients that have something happen in their lives, whether it's they had to move or they had a flood of some sort. And so they're forced into starting over and they want to hold on to as many pieces as they can because it's like, if you lose everything, that's a big deal. They don't want to get rid of all of it. They like it. They liked it the first time. They chose it in the house. Maybe they're upsizing, maybe they're downsizing. So we kind of establish that as the plan and we go from there. What are the measurements and dimensions of those? How do we find the right pieces to go with that? And oftentimes you need to go bigger than you think you do. You need to establish a plan. You need to figure out the correct sizes of everything before you buy anything, before you paint your walls. That way we know exactly what we're getting into before we make those commitments and we avoid any mistakes or we avoid having to compromise on the design because ultimately you and I both, we just want your space to be beautiful. So this is how we're gonna get there. Now you may say like everybody's been there and we've all done that, and absolutely, but if you've bought something and it's not working out, if you are looking to establish a plan, you're thinking about buying a house or you're doing something, you're moving, now is a great time to work with a designer. Before you get in too deep, you can always book a one-on-one virtual consultation with me using the link in the description box down below or by going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic. We can have a virtual call and you can show me around. You can even show me photos of a space that you may not be in yet. So be sure you head to the link in the description box down below or check it out at intro.co/GarrettLeChic and I'll see you over there. Another design mistake people make all of the time, and it's kind of sort of an easy fix, a little bit difficult, but we'll get into it, is actually the size of light fixtures. Just like I said before, you need to go bigger than you think you do. And you need a bigger light fixture than you expect to put into that space. And I actually just saw this on someone's video, like on TikTok, and they like bought a light fixture they really thought was beautiful and it was like high-end expensive, but like it just was so small because people don't realize that, like the fixture itself, like you see a dimension, you're like, yeah, okay, that's good. Like, hey, if I hold 18 inches in front of my face, that feels pretty big. But by comparison to your living room, it's not. It's really not. So you need to go bigger than you think you do. And this happens pretty much in every aspect of lighting in your home. Like with overhead recessed lighting, you probably need more than you think you do. But those pendant lights, those chandeliers, wall-mounted fixtures, typically people buy them undersized and they just need to be bigger. So here's a couple of parameters I want you to remember so that you get the right piece the first time. If we're hanging a light fixture over a table, a dining table, or even a kitchen island, I never want that fixture to be more than 2/3 of the width of that piece. So, the shorter width of your dining room table, let's say that's 3 feet, I want that light fixture to be right around 20 to 24 inches. That's 2/3. Same thing goes for a kitchen island. I want it to be about 2/3. That way it feels substantial and it feels beautiful, large. It will give enough light without feeling like a little dangly thing buzzing around, like a little bee in the space. I don't like that. So we need a light fixture that's the appropriate size. In a living room, you can go much larger because you can center that piece not over the coffee table, but over the furniture arrangement. However, we have to talk about the height that piece is hung at or how low it hangs. In my home, I will never hang a light fixture less than 6.5 feet off the floor. And I don't care if it's over a table, I don't care if it's over an island or a dining table or whatever. I don't like light fixtures to be hung very low. I want them to be hung a little higher so the ceilings feel a little higher, and I don't have that kind of feeling of like I can see, like I'm standing there looking and like I'm looking into a light fixture. I'm not a particularly tall person, but I'm not short either. So that kind of average height, 6.5 feet from the floor is a really good starting point. If you have lower ceilings, I would even go 7 foot if I had taller ceilings. So bear that in mind when you're out shopping or looking for what you want. And there's a place for small light fixtures. If you've been there, you've done that, you have the small light fixtures, that's perfect for a hallway. That's perfect for a bathroom. That's perfect for a small area because it will be a big light fixture in a small area, even though it's a small light fixture in a big area. So you can use that to your advantage. Hang your fixtures in the correct space so that they don't feel teeny and tiny and underwhelming. We want them to really enhance that space and bring your eye upwards. Go big on your light fixtures to really showcase the design. Now I'm going to talk to you about something that some people will find controversial and other people will think is obvious, but you need to hear it, and oftentimes my clients do too. That is, it is perfectly acceptable to put furniture in front of windows. Now, with that said, I don't want to block the window. So I'm not going to tell you to put, a china cabinet in front of the window. Like, that's crazy. It doesn't make sense. Don't do that. But you can have a chair in front of a window. You can have a sofa with its back to a window. You could put a small table with a lamp on it or a vase of flowers in front of a window. It's okay. And it all depends on your home and the layout you need and you have to do. Because like some people have big enough houses where we can just float the furniture in the middle of the space. Like I have an awkward sized living room, but it's kind of substantial in size. There's a lot of hallways and walkways in it. So like none of my furniture has to go against a wall, but some of it has to have its back to a window, and that's okay. A part of what you have to do if you're putting furniture in front of a window is you have to kind of romanticize it a little bit, okay? And basically romanticizing it means you have to convince yourself. You have to be a little bit delusional about it. And a part of that is just like embracing the beauty of the imperfection, right? Like if I have a table in front of a window with a lamp on it, like I'm gonna be like, this is so beautiful, and everybody is gonna walk past and see the light from outside, and I'm gonna love that so much, and it's beautiful. I might put a vase of flowers there and be like, oh, look at how great this looks with the light streaming through it. That's romanticizing it. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make the perfect furniture layout or the perfect enough furniture layout in a space or a living room. Whether that means the back of a piece of furniture is to a window or not, it's okay to do. And I know it's like maybe not perfect feng shui, but every house isn't designed so that you can have that. And that's okay. Sometimes that's just not what will make that space usable or make any sense, or you won't be in that room. So then move. What's the point in having it? You don't need that house. You don't need that space. You may as well not pay for it, right? But if you just break the rules a little bit, you can do something spectacular. And if you have a window behind your sofa, make it stunning. Get some great drapes on it, get a gorgeous Roman blind on it. Maybe you have 2 of them. Let's put a beautiful piece of artwork between them. 10 out of 10. Enhance the space, romanticize it, make it something beautiful, because it absolutely can be. Every space, every room is just a room. It's just 4 walls. You can do anything with it. You can make it beautiful and spectacular. And we talk about that all the time here, every week, right? We always talk about how to make your home more beautiful. So if you're in the position where you love design and you're looking to enhance your space and your life through great design, be sure you hit the subscribe button and join us. Become a part of our GarrettLeChic family. I'd also greatly appreciate if everyone watching could give this video a like. And if you do hit that subscribe button, please comment down below and share with me so I can personally welcome you to the channel. Another design mistake. And sometimes a design mistake is something that is actually a mistake. And sometimes it's just like, I have a signature when it comes to design, and that's what you're going to get from my work, right? And a part of that is something I love for a very good reason. And the thing I love is substantial and oversized drapery hardware. I don't like cheap little drapery hardware. I don't like thin drapery hardware. I don't like any of that. And when I say it's like a part of my, design ethos, and it's a signature I always have, I just like substantial drapery hardware. I just do. And, I think it's accessible. I think it's out there. Like, you can shove it on my Amazon storefront. I also like it from Ballard Design. I also think you can customize it. You can go and find some alternatives out there for it, but get a drapery rod that's oversized with good substantial brackets, because I want extra deep and weighty curtains on that rod, okay? I want them to be like full looking and feeling as if we can black out the entire window with the drapes, right? And I love pinch pleats too. Pinch pleats, people go crazy for and they love them, but the reality is it's literally just folded fabric. It's literally just folded fabric. So you can get the cheapest drapes possible. You go to any store, you can get them, fold the fabric, put a little stitch in it, you have pinch pleats. You can have it custom made. There are plenty of places that do that. And yeah, I mean, it's beautiful. You might pay a little bit more for it, but you can literally do the same thing with a wooden dowel. If you want a really specific finish on that drapery hardware, right? Like, you can get like a really good quality gold spray paint and paint it, and that's fine. You could do a bronze kind of thing, but if you want it colored or painted, like if you're doing a kid's room, sometimes that's really fun to paint your drapery hardware, like a color, paint it white, paint it pink, paint it green. I love that. Go with a wooden dowel. Go to a hardware store, get a substantial, like a 1.5 inch wooden dowel, and that can be so beautiful. You can get wooden finials for it. Boom, there you go. And you can have that drapery hardware made for like 10 bucks. Are you kidding me? And if you have a drapery supplier near you, chances are they will be able to do custom drapery rods for you. And that's a perfectly acceptable thing as well. Going substantial on your drapery hardware, 10 out of 10. Doing this like thin little baby hardware that's like from, a box store, it never lasts. Don't bother with it. Go big or go home. And that's a really good place to add a little bit of quality into your space because you're actually using it. And be sure, if you're in the market for drapery hardware, you check out my Amazon storefront for some of my favorite finds. That's linked in the description box down below. Another design mistake I see all of the time that I always have to address with clients is small artwork. I love artwork. I love beautiful artwork. I love all sorts of artwork. I think artwork tells you about who a person is. And so having artwork, super important, super, super important. But it's got to be the right size. And it always needs to be bigger than you think it needs to be. But here's the thing I notice most of all. It's not that people get artwork that's too small. It's not that artwork can be too small. It's that it's just not in the right spot. It's just on a wall that's too big for that piece of artwork. It has to be proportionate and dimensional to that wall, and there are certain tricks you can use to do that. For example, right here behind me, I have a drape here on my window. This piece of artwork is a really good dimension for this wall. It fills it up beautifully, and you can see it. That's the most important thing. If you have a little piece of artwork on a big wall, I mostly see wall. I mostly see wall. The wall is overwhelming that piece of artwork. I'm not looking at it. It's just like a thing on the wall. It may as well be, like the control switch for the air conditioner, right? Like if it's too small, it's just not gonna look good. But if it's the right size on the right wall, that artwork will be stunning. It will be gorgeous. I will see it. I will not be able to look away from it. It will really enhance it. And there's only a handful of tricks we can use to get around this. One trick would be adding more artwork on either side, above or below another piece, like stacking them. And if you do that, it may look like the right size, but you're going to distract from the piece of artwork. So I would rather it have really good lighting on it, or, if you have two windows next to each other, like putting drapery on them with a piece of artwork in between them, like that's a really good spot for a small piece of art. A lot of times clients will have like angled walls in their homes, like those have a random kind of angled wall in a hallway or something. That's a really good place for a small piece of artwork because usually they're not big walls. They're usually smaller, so a small piece of art fits there perfectly. Big artwork that is genuine, right, that's from an artist is usually very expensive because a lot of time goes into these pieces, okay? Totally justified, love that. If you can't do that, if it's just not in the budget and it's not accessible to you, there's nothing wrong with a mirror. A mirror is a really good piece to put on a large wall. We're bringing in more light, we're bouncing it around this space, we're enhancing the scale of everything, and it's more affordable than getting a custom piece of artwork. So you can go really high-end with small pieces of artwork that are, beautiful oil paintings, originals, and one-of-a-kinds, and then use mirrors to your advantage to make that big wall not feel so empty. And there's other types of artwork you can get that are very big naturally. A tapestry. Tapestries are pretty big and you can find them large and I love that. I love folding screens, like Oriental style folding screens. Love them, 10 out of 10. Get one, hang it on the wall. Those are huge. Like sometimes you'll find them that are like 6 feet long by 5 feet tall. If you need a really big and substantial piece, that could be something interesting. And of course, if you have a little bit of talent, a little bit of ability, maybe you like minimalism and you just want something simple, you can make your own artwork and, you know, have some fun with it, and you can really customize the colors in it in your space. Artwork should be the right size for the wall it's on so that you can actually see it. We can see what's in that piece of artwork instead of it feeling like just a little thing stuck on the wall. It feels out of place. Nobody's looking at it because we can't see it because the wall is too big for that piece of artwork. If you love a piece, hang it on the right wall so you can actually see it. Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett and thank you for spending some time with me today because in this video, we're talking all about some things that are making your home uncomfortable and what to do instead, how to fix them, or maybe you'll just find out why all your friends' houses are uncomfortable and everybody wants to hang out at yours, and I love that for you. The first thing you have to do, the first design mistake you could be making in your home is that you don't have enough dimension in your space. Dimension means a number of different things, right? Like dimension could mean the contrast in your home. Do you have something that's dark enough that it feels like a grounding element? Dimension also means like, is everything the same color? If it's all the same color, that's not relaxing to me. It's just like, it's clinical. Like if everything is all white, it feels like a hospital and that's not relaxing there. So you've got to have dimension in your space. And there's a couple of ways you can add dimension. You know, if you have a darker tone or a moodier color, you can bring into that space in some way. For me, I like to add dimension in color, right? So I'll bring in a piece that's a color, or maybe a rug that has a color, a piece of artwork that has a color. I also, in my home, I have white oak floors and a lot of brighter, lighter white walls. I like to bring in mahogany pieces of furniture with like a walnut stain on them because that adds a lot of dimension. It adds a lot of depth. And basically what you need to do is give your space somewhere for your eye to land and to focus on, to stop it from moving. That's what dimension is all about. And that's what I want to add into that space. So for some people, it could be like, I'm gonna add, you know, a pop of black somewhere, like, you know, a black accent chair or a rug or something. And that can be a good way to go about this, but it may be too strong of a contrast. So you can also add in another tone that is not dark. It may just be more saturated. You know, for example, if you wanted to add in a red colored rug, like a more traditional style rug that has some red in it, that is a very saturated color. Even if you go with a more muted red tone, it's very saturated. And that's going to add a lot of dimension and a lot of visual interest. Like my eye is going to go to that because it's a very strong and rich color, even if it's not bold. Now, that is something visual that's going to help your space be more relaxing. But what you can also do is add something that's going to make it more relaxing physically, something more comfortable, and that would be extra deep seating in your home. And you can add extra deep seating on your sofa, yes, but you can also do chairs that are deeper. You could do a counter stool that's a little bit deeper as well. All of these things are going to make your space more comfortable because they add more versatility into how you can use it. You can lay back, you can lounge, you can relax. Like, I don't want to be in my house and be uncomfortable in any way. For me, that might mean something different for you. I like being able to sit here on this sofa specifically because it's a little shallower. It's got a slightly lower back. So this is literally just an armrest for me. This is a very comfortable position for me to sit in. I could sit here for hours like this, but that's not for everybody. Some people are gonna be like, no, I want a recliner. Okay, we could do that. Do it to the best of your abilities. Find a nice one and then go from there. But adding in some deeper seating, some wider seating that's just more comfortable, more plush, more lounge-like is a really good way to make your home more comfortable, obviously. So when you are out looking for a piece, or if you're just giving advice to somebody else, you don't have to redecorate your house, because it probably worked for you the first time because you've been watching this channel, you've been listening, you're a subscriber, and I love that for you. But when you're advising your friends on what to do, let's look for seating that's a little bit deeper and more versatile. I also will recommend you look for like a sofa that doesn't have a lot of independent cushions because it will always get messed up and they will always look a mess unless they're really, really firm, but that's maybe not the most comfortable. So extra deep seating is going to be your best friend to make your home more comfortable. Now, your best friend to make your home more beautiful is right here. Hi, how are you? You can always book a one-on-one virtual styling and design consultation with me using the link in the description box down below or by going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic to get any and all of your design and decorating questions answered, whether you're doing a full big renovation or you're just looking to make some of those minor tweaks that are going to elevate your home. I've got those answers for you. So be sure you head down to the description box and I'll see you over there. Another way to make your home more relaxing, a mistake a lot of people make is that they don't use low contrast color schemes. They want things to be really bold, really highly graphic, and then on top of that, they're not using enough dimension in their space. So what does all of that mean? Basically, if you're that person, you're like, I want my home to be light and bright and airy, and I'm gonna do everything that's white and cream, that's not a color scheme. That's not dimension, okay? It's light, it's bright, and you got what you wanted, but your home may feel a little bit stark because that's what that color scheme does. That's the whole point of it. Or if you say, I'm gonna do everything and color drench it, well, that can be really good because it's moody and it's rich, but if you don't have enough contrast in that space, you don't have enough of a color scheme going on, it'll just feel like everything is the same color, and maybe that's not what you want to do. So in order to make your home more relaxing, what we do is we start off with a color scheme, right? And maybe that's 2-3 colors. And then we say, like, how do we make them meet in the middle? How do we bring these together and make a gradient effect? So I'm going to take a creamy white, and then I might do beige, and then I might do taupe, and then I might do camel, and then I might do brown. So I have this spectrum of color that's going to build and develop. And then I don't have to match anything at all, but I get a gradient effect when it comes to that color scheme. I also want to match intensity of colors. So I don't want to do something that's like a neon vibrant piece over here, and then everything else is like a soft muted color over here, because now it just feels like crazy. It's like, why is that there? It doesn't go with anything. It doesn't make sense. I want to use that same intensity of color everywhere, no matter what the colors are. For example, in a piece of artwork, an artist isn't gonna say, let's use, red and blue. They're gonna say, like, let's use red, let's use blue, let's mix them together, and you're gonna get a little bit of this purple tone in there. And then, it's softer. It's not like a harsh black and white contrast. You don't want that in your home if you want it to be relaxing. That's going to feel more bold, more graphic, and it's not going to feel relaxing. It's literally the opposite of it. So don't be the person that does it in your home. Use a gradient color scheme in your home and lower contrast in your color schemes to make your space feel more relaxing. Another mistake people make when they are decorating their home and it stops their space from feeling relaxing is that they're not using soft furnishings the right way or at all. We've all seen a house where it's like, you walk into it and you're like, why does it feel so empty in here? Why does it feel like there's nothing in this house? But there's furniture here, there's stuff here. It's because there's no soft furnishings, because there's no throw blanket, there's no pillows, there's no little rug on the floor, right? There is literally just furniture pieces. Okay, it takes more than just furniture to decorate your home and to have it feel good. So you have to use soft furnishings, and you have to use them in the right way because they really matter. That's where we're tying in color schemes. And so I see all of the time people will be like, they're at the store, oh, that's cute, I like that, I'm gonna get it. And it doesn't go with anything. It doesn't make any sense. Like, what are you talking about? Okay, it's cute and you like it, but how do we make that feel like it's supposed to be there? How do we make it work in that space? Because that's what's going to advance that color scheme in an elevated and sophisticated way using soft furnishings. That's really where you tie everything in together. Yeah, you can tie things in with a pattern accent chair, but if you get sick of that, now you have to get a new chair, as where we could just change a pillow cover and that's easy. You could do artwork, but you have to be really committed to that color if you're going to use artwork in that color scheme, and not everybody always is. Another soft furnishing you could bring into a space is an ottoman. You can do an ottoman, a tufted ottoman, something upholstered in a color that ties everything together. I love an ottoman because we can kind of stack it and layer it with a coffee table. So you do a small round table that's maybe technically not big enough, you can layer that with an ottoman. Now what we've done is we've created a layer, we added some texture, we added a little bit of extra color to it, we added something interesting, maybe it's a storage ottoman and we love that, but we've advanced that design with a soft furnishing. Don't underestimate the power of them because they are essential. Speaking of what is also essential, great design advice is essential to achieve a beautiful home, and you have got that here. Hi there, welcome to the channel because you found the best design channel on YouTube. So be sure you take a moment, hit that subscribe button and join us and help us out on our journey of reaching 100,000 subscribers. We would love to have you as a part of our GarrettLeChic family. So join us, hit that subscribe button, and give this video a like. Also, if you're already subscribed, be sure you have that bell notification turned on so you never miss a video. Now, we do have a special announcement because it's somebody's birthday. Okay, we only have a couple of minutes to make this work because the dogs do not like wearing birthday hats, but it's Cornelius's birthday. Happy birthday, Cornelius. Hi, hi. Cornelius is 10 years old. He's a 10-year-old baby bulldog, and he does not like wearing his birthday hat, but that's beside the point. Okay, all right, we'll split this treat. We'll split the treat. 2 dogs, 1 treat. Okay, you have those little bits. There you go, Cornelius. Happy birthday. Baby boy. If anybody wants to know what a handsome baby bulldog looks like who is 10 years old, this is what it is. And everybody says, why isn't Cornelius in the videos so much? Cornelius loves to bask in the sun, and it is streaming in right now, and at 10 years old, he gets to do what he wants. He's a grown baby boy. He's a puppy. He's still a puppy. Look at this dog. This is a puppy dog. So cute. Okay, I'll take this off, and you can go lay down. Love that for me. Now that the birthday celebrations are done, somebody's had a little treat. Somebody's got a little treat. Let's talk about the next thing that is stopping your home from feeling relaxing, and that is your lighting. I love great lighting. As a designer, I think lighting is like the majority of great design is just good lighting. But it has to be right. It has to be the right color, the right tone. Basically, what I'm telling you is don't have cool tone lighting in your house. I know you think you did something advanced. I know you think you hacked the system and like, oh, it's so much brighter. I can see so much. That's the problem. That is the problem. We're seeing way too much. It's way too bright. A relaxed space has relaxed lighting. If you go to a fine restaurant, if you go to a luxury hotel, if you go to, a beautiful theater, they don't have cool tone lighting. A hospital has cool tone lighting. A prison has cool tone lighting. Okay, so I don't want that in my house because that's just not the fantasy for me. I want a space that is warm, that's relaxing and inviting, and lighting is how you're going to do that. So change out your crazy cool tone lights for warmer tone lights. And you can actually have a mix of things, right? If you have recessed lighting overhead, you can do that a little brighter. I still would not do it in cool tone lighting because I just don't believe in that. I don't like that. So no, but you could have that be a little bit brighter and have that be the cool tone lighting. And then all of the actual fixtures, like if you have a chandelier, if you have lamps, those are warmer tones so that we can just leave the overhead lights off and only use the warm tone lighting. It's going to make your home feel so much more relaxing and less like a hospital because it's going to be beautiful and warm. And the other thing warm tone lighting does that, some people will comment and be like, I don't like warm tone lighting because it does this. But that's literally the whole point why you want to do it is because it makes all of your colors look warmer. And that makes it feel more inviting and more welcoming and more relaxing. That's just the reality of it. So having warm tone lighting is going to enhance all of your colors at night and make them all look softer, warmer. You're going to see less of the contrast and less of the high contrast color in those pieces, right? Like even a very colorful piece of artwork with warm tone lighting at night looks less colorful. It's softer, it's more relaxed. That's what we want for your home. So use warm tone lighting to your advantage, but you don't have to commit to only having that. You want to use one or the other at the same time, like never both. But if you're that person that you really have to have the cool tone lighting, okay, but don't invite me over. One of the biggest things you can do, the most impactful and the easiest, but one of the biggest mistakes you could make is that you're not decluttering your home. That's not relaxing when you go into a space and it's just full of stuff. Okay, it feels like a journey. It feels like an adventure. It feels like a thrift store, but we don't want our homes to feel that way. So you need to be thoughtful about the pieces you have in your space and declutter. Now, when I say declutter, I don't mean just like get rid of everything and have nothing, because then your house is gonna look empty and that's weird too. But I want you to focus in on things that are intentional, things that matter, things that make you feel a certain way. Well, I'd like it to be a positive way, but that's beside the point. And the easiest way to do that in your space is to have things that are sentimental, that have nostalgia to them. So, instead of having a coffee table book, have a family photo album. Have a scent that reminds you of a beautiful place you went or a time or the season, right? Like holiday scented scents, whether that's, like a diffuser or a non-toxic candle could be a good thing to have in your home. But all of these things matter because we want our spaces to feel intentional. We want them to feel like us and like we live there, but I don't want to see a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter or doesn't make any sense. And if you have a lot of things like that, some people like little tchotchkes and things, that's fine. Corral them together, put them in a display case or a cabinet of some sort. Don't just have them all over the place, because what's going to happen is they're going to collect dust and everything, and then it's just going to be a mess, and nobody likes that. Be intentional about what you're putting out, because some things are harder to keep clean than others. What's not going to make your space relaxing is if it's a dusty, hot mess. So we need to clean it. We need to do things that are easy to take care of and maintain, because that's the easiest way to make your home feel refreshed, renewed, is to do some of those maintenance items, right? Yes, clean the floors. Yes, dust off of the tabletops. That's obvious, okay? Vacuuming off the sofa, great. I mean, dust the baseboards. Let's get the scuffs off the walls. Let's make it look refreshed, renewed, because that's gonna really let us enhance the feeling, the atmosphere of the space. I'm gonna be able to look at everything and relax and be like, oh, this is so relaxing, and not like, ooh, a little scuff on the wall there. Let me not say anything because my friend is a mess. I don't like that. And I don't want somebody to come into my house and say that. These are all things you want to be intentional about, so you don't have a high maintenance home, because when your home is actually low maintenance, that is more relaxing and easier to enjoy. Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and in today's video, we are talking about design mistakes that even designers make that they don't look good. They just look cheap. Let's be honest. And you need to know so you can avoid them in your home. Yes, I'm exposing the good, the bad, and the ugly, and obviously, I'm not the bad or the ugly. But the first thing we have to talk about are fake drapes. Ooh, the fake drapes. It gets me every single time. I see so many photos of beautiful spaces that have been designed meticulously with the exception of drapery. Fake drapes drive me insane because they are literally fake. They're not even pretending to be real. Okay, it's like a bad knockoff. It doesn't look good. The reason we can spot the fake drapes is because since they're fake, they don't have full curtain rods that extend all the way across. And that's the real issue I have. Now, there's one thing to have drapery that doesn't open all the way or, completely cover a window, because sometimes it just doesn't end up working out that way, whether it's, for the size or the look you're after for the space, or just the overall, limitations of the space. For example, I have a client who she has radiators under her windows that are boxed in. So the front of them has a grill, but the sides are closed. And we're doing drapes because it will make the space look better, just enhance it more, to have that linear look and feel to the ceiling. She won't realistically be able to use them because there is a radiator in front of the window, but it's there for the aesthetic and for the look. You can do that, and yeah, they're gonna be fake. They're not gonna be usable and real, but they will look real. They will be real drapes. Like, we could close them if we wanted to. It just might look weird with a radiator underneath them. But, not having the drapery rod extend all the way, what is even the point? It makes no sense. And it's more expensive. It's more expensive because, one, I know these are custom. They have to be, because where are you even getting drapery rods that are like a foot long? It makes no sense. And two, we have to buy extra hardware, and we have to buy extra finials or ends or caps for the rods themselves. So we're spending all of this extra money on the little detail pieces, and the finials on them are more expensive than the actual rods. Like, I could just tell you that right now. I know this as a fact. And I also know that the hardware itself is adding to the cost of things when we don't need it. Like, if you have a really big expanse of a window, you might need 3 brackets for 1 rod, as where, these have 4 brackets for 2 rods. It's all of this extra for no reason whatsoever. And it's not adding to anything. Like, okay, the drapes are fake, let them be fake. It doesn't matter, but let's have them look like they're real, at least like fulfill the fantasy. And all this is doing is drawing my attention to the fact that there's a big gap of space between the windows and the ceiling. I'm seeing all of this extra wall space that I wouldn't really be looking at if there was a rod there. That's where my eye would go to and say, oh, the beautiful rod, the detail. It would make sense, as we're having a big empty gap of space above windows and doors. It drives me insane. It just doesn't look good. It does not look good. Designers out there, be warned. I know what you're doing. I see it, and let it end here, because the fake drapes are not acceptable. Now, I know sometimes it can be difficult to nail those difficult decisions, to get them right, to get all of the details perfectly situated in your home, because some of these things and these mistakes are very expensive and end up looking cheap, and you don't want that in your space. So if you require assistance, I am at your service. You can always book a one-on-one interior design consultation with me using the link in the description box down below, or going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic. As I'm sure you can see, Cornelius has decided to grace us with his presence today. So you may see his head popping in and out, and he may decide he needs to get off the sofa. I don't know. Arden's also on my lap, so you might see him too, and they are just coming by to say hello, and they're also reminding you to hit the subscribe button. Okay, sweet boy. The next thing we have to talk about, the next design mistake that designers make that just looks cheap, in my opinion, is chairs that are too tall. Chairs that are too tall, the backs of chairs, the height of them, it matters so much when it comes to scale, when it comes to flow, when it comes to sight lines in a space. And when you have the back of a chair that is too tall, it throws everything off for me. And it's an easy mistake to avoid, but it's something I see all of the time. A chair back has to have a reference point to whatever that space is. So if it's a dining area, the backs of the chairs should all have, some sort of relationship to each other. You could do accent head chairs on a table or a captain's chair. That's fine, but then all of the other chairs, they either have to be lower, the same height, they have to make sense with one another. The same thing goes for a living room. You can't have a chair, an accent chair in the living room that's drastically taller than everything else, because it starts to feel out of place. And that's my issue with like a recliner. Recliners are just so big, the back of them is so tall, that it just feels out of scale with a normal sofa or anything else in the space. The proportions of it are just off. And that's what a chair with too tall of a back does to your home. So in a living room, you want to take the scale of your sofa and apply that to accent chairs within this space. This example right here actually is a banquette that's built into an island in a kitchen. And you can see this is a gorgeous home. It is beautiful, obviously very custom. Why are the dining chairs so tall? They make no sense with the rest of this island. The backs of these chairs should be at or around the same height as the island. That way there's flow, there's one block there, it's continuous throughout, or they should be slightly higher than the island, but not drastically taller like you see here. It feels out of place, and it feels like there is a block there. It feels like there's a wall there disconnecting the space. That's what too tall of a chair does in any space, whether it's a dining room or a living room. You can go with a really dramatically tall chair in an office, behind a desk. That's fine. We're expecting to see that. It's not unexpected, because that's the one chair there, or it's the one piece. It's not supposed to have a relationship with the connecting areas. And it's like I said before in a previous video, sight lines really matter when it comes to decorating a space. What can we see from every area of the home? If I'm standing here, can I see over there? Does it matter here? When I'm in that kitchen, I'm not gonna be able to see through those chairs into the living room. It's gonna feel like that's where everything stops. This is a blockade there, instead of it being a similar height and having good sight lines and flow throughout. So too tall of a chair can easily make a home look cheap. Now, the next design mistake that I see designers make all of the time, and is something that really, sets me off, puts me on edge, and you all agree to, is when designers push their own style. Pushing your own style on your clients is, clients come to you for a couple of reasons. Number one is they either really like your specific style and what you do and, the realm you work in. And so you kind of take your style and you manipulate it and you adapt it to their lifestyle and that space. Or clients come to you because they need answers and they know that you have the versatility and understanding to create what they want. My clients come to me because they know that I can look at their style and tweak it and make it look perfect no matter what it is. I mean, I work in contemporary design spaces and traditional design spaces. I'll work on, Spanish style homes too, like all of these different things. When I'm working on a space, I start with sourcing and just finding interesting things that we like and how we can work with them. And it might be like, hey, I like this style and I like this thing. Okay, great. We have a color scheme here. We can build off of that. This style says this to me. So is that what you're interested in? Let's find a sofa that has this detail because I want to replicate this. I want to send this message and do this thing. And we can really work and create something dramatic and interesting and unique and personal. But a lot of designers and what I see online is just the same thing over and over and over again. And it's like, oh, we did this project. And it's like, okay, well, it looks exactly like the last 5 projects. So do I need to watch the tour of this project? No, I don't, because it looks exactly the same. It's not even a different color scheme. It's all the same, like white and white oak, and you know, maybe there's a camel color thrown in there. I don't know what to tell you. Like, all of it's the same, and it's the same over and over and over again. I want to see things that are interesting, that are different, that are unique, that are unexpected, that nobody has seen before, nobody will see again, or are just really heightened and elevated forms of design, different styles, things that are interesting. And I think as a designer, that's what you have to work with, because when you do the same thing over and over and over again, it just gets replicated, it's trendy, it doesn't have a long-lasting appeal. It has to be updated often to make it feel different or interesting as your style elevates. Everything has to be the same thing over again, right? It just is. It's just boring to me. It's so boring to me. And I think that's a major mistake, because that's where you get into a space where the designs you create look dated after a short period of time. When you do so much of the same work over and over again, and we're overexposed to the same thing always, it doesn't say timeless or long lasting to me. It says fast, easy, and a little bit cheap. Speaking of what you should do in your home and what is personal and makes you happy and brings you joy, that thing, that answer that fits everyone's needs is me. You should join us. Hit that subscribe button and become a part of our GarrettLeChic family. We are on the journey to 100,000 subscribers, and I would love to have you as a part of our family. So please join us, hit that subscribe button, and I would greatly appreciate if everyone watching could give this video a like. Now, this next design mistake that a lot of designers make that I see that may be touchy for some people is expensive rugs. Expensive rugs are not for everyone, and they're not for everywhere. But I always see designers who feature and showcase these like expensive rugs, these gorgeous rugs that are handmade, and they're so amazing, and I love them, they're so beautiful. But that does not fit everybody's lifestyle. Okay, don't come to me and think like, oh, the more expensive it is, the better it is, because you're not always getting something that is the correct quality or has the durability for your home. And expensive rugs are one of the big areas where even a cheap rug, a big cheap rug is very expensive. They could be thousands of dollars. So, you know, a really high-end, a hand-knotted wool rug that's a silk blend or something along those lines just doesn't always have the durability for every home. Some people are going to have those rugs and they're perfect. You know, they're beautiful and the quality is amazing, and yeah, they're a little bit delicate, but your lifestyle fits that, and so it's fine. But a lot of homes are just not that thing. Like, so many times we'll see an interior designer do a home tour and it's like, oh, the kids and the dogs and the this and the that. And it's like, how are you maintaining that rug? How are you keeping it perfect all of the time? Like, are people just not allowed in this room? Do you just not use it? Is that the answer? Because sometimes a rug is just too delicate for everyone's lifestyle, and that is absolutely okay. Something in my home, it has to be durable enough to withstand all of that, and a lot of cleaning, because I also am very allergy prone, so I have to be vacuuming and cleaning my house all of the time. I can't deal with dust anywhere. But it also has to withstand the puppy, you know, scratching at it and digging into it and chewing on the corners a little bit of it. So I don't want something that's uber expensive, because he will inevitably ruin it. And that's just the reality of it. So a lot of the rooms in my home right now don't have rugs because they just will not stand up to the puppy phase Arden is going through right now. Speaking of the little devil, he's here. Come here. Come right here. Do you want to say hi to everyone? Oh, don't be like that. He says, I know I was bad. I was naughty chewing up the rugs, weren't you? Your ears are all wet. He just had a drink. Okay, that's cute. You know, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, his ears are wet. You need to put a snoot on him. Cornelius can't drink out of a bowl, like a small enough bowl, like, and he can't have a snoot on all of the time. So his ears just get wet and we brush them out all the time. Don't worry about it. And he eats out of a spaniel bowl, so he doesn't get food in his ears either. They're very clean, very nice, and we change their water regularly also. But, you know, sometimes an expensive rug is just not for every home. It's not for everyone, doesn't work in every space, but I always see them. I always see designers using them. So I really think you have to consider the lifestyle and needs of everybody in the space and what is the reality of it. So often I talk to clients and they're like, oh, well, we want to do a rug, but our dog is a little older, or we have young kids, so I don't want to spend a lot of money on it. And 100% of the time I'm like, okay, there are great washable rugs. There are just really affordable rugs you can use that look good. If you're looking for affordable rugs and you want something that's really beautiful and is going to look good and be elevated, number one, check my Amazon storefront. Number two, don't be afraid of a synthetic material. Look for something that has more muted tones in it, because often these synthetic rugs can have really shocking and very vibrant tones in them that just don't look real. Look for something that's a little more muted to nail the color scheme, to get that authentic look, even if it's not, you know, a handmade wool rug that's knotted in here and shipped all over the world. It doesn't have to be super expensive. It does need to look good and fit the space and serve your needs, most importantly. Another design mistake I see designers make all of the time is spaces that just look too matchy-matchy. And this comes into play when we're talking about color. I don't care, you could be a color expert and your spaces could still look cheap because they're too matchy-matchy. And the reason a lot of spaces look matchy-matchy, especially when it comes to using really fun colors, is just because they're too solid. They're not used in the correct way, and we don't have enough variation or play within patterns and the color schemes within them. Have a look at this space here right next to me. This is gorgeous. It looks great. And I love the color scheme used here because it's cohesive without being matchy-matchy. Now, the real moments here that are a success are these accent pillows. We have one that's an amber color and another that's this Merlot kind of burgundy tone. There's a direct reference point to the artwork on the wall that matches these pillows, but they're used in the inverse in both of these images. So one's more yellow, this amber tone, and one is more of this Merlot color. All of the other furniture in this space has a reference point back to that artwork in this plum kind of aubergine color. Even the wood tone is very warm, so it naturally ties in to this more amber tone. You don't even realize just how matchy this space is because it's not obvious, because it's more cohesive than matchy. Matchy spaces tend to look juvenile, they tend to look a little bit cheap, and I see designers all the time that do this sort of thing, and it just doesn't feel elevated or successful. Having a color scheme that's more cohesive than matchy is way more timeless and way more elevated. Now, another design mistake I see made all of the time by designers that just looks cheap, and it breaks my heart a little bit because I think it's so obvious and easy to fix, is actually sofa table heights. If you're floating a sofa in your space, sometimes you want to have something behind it because otherwise you're looking at the back of a sofa and that's not really super elevated. So you want to put a table there, but that table height matters so much because it has to be lower than the back of the sofa. It needs to be like 3 or 4 inches lower. I need a little substantial chunk of space there to make it make sense. Anything we put on that table now is way taller than the sofa. It's creating a blockade, a wall, a visual wall that's just like stopping our eyes from moving forward. And it's such an easy thing to get correct, but is so often done incorrectly that I can't handle it. In my opinion, a sofa table needs to be more of like a really tall bench behind the sofa. I want it to sit below the back of that sofa so we can put things like, we can put lamps on it, we can put coffee table books, we could put a little vase or something, a little accessory that I'm not gonna just like, even right now I'm sitting here with my arm on the back of the sofa. If there was a sofa table here, I would literally knock everything off of it if it wasn't sat lower than the table. If you're floating a living room in a space, that sofa table has to be below the back of the sofa. Otherwise, it just looks off. It just looks weird and a little out of place. Now, if you already have one of those tables and you're like, hey, you know what, it's a little tall, reach out to a furniture repair person because they often can reduce the height of legs on a piece of furniture. They can cut them down so they sit a little bit lower, and that's something that could be very successful. Or maybe instead of doing a sofa table, we do a bench behind it, or we look for a cabinet with some case storage, some clothes storage in it, and will actually fit the space and be the correct scale, will sit a little bit lower and feel a lot better. So do not have a sofa table. It's a mistake designers make. Okay, I see it all of the time. Don't have that sofa table that is taller than the back of your sofa or the same height. It has to be lower if it's gonna be behind the sofa floating in a space. Now that we're talking about things that are gonna make your home beautiful and eliminating some of these design mistakes, be sure you check out this video right here all about my top 2025 design trends that are going to make your home look stunning and they're timeless to boot. So be sure you check it out and I will see you over there. Oh, and by the way, thanks for watching.